Yeah, I think this organization allows for a promotion of a level playing field. I think equal opportunity is something that is lacking all over the world. I can speak to my experiences in Italy and being a professional athlete here, but also understanding, there are a number of refugees from places like Africa and the Middle East and other places in Europe that come to try and find a better life. And there just isn't the same amount of opportunity for the folks that are coming in, and there isn't a great deal of understanding or empathy for those people who are finding themselves in said situations. So with an organization like CASA, I think that we can try to level the playing field for these children who are looking to find stable homes, who are coming from dire situations and have quite literally been neglected by both their caretakers, their families, and also the criminal justice system and the juvenile system that hasn't necessarily assisted. I think by some of the national numbers, I believe that in many cases with CASA, I think recommendations from the volunteers 4 out of 5 times are usually accepted by judges. There have also been very positive responses from judges who have interacted with different CASA volunteers. So it does allow for a more equitable situation, a more advantageous situation for the child. And it allows for the child to also express some of their desires through the buffering mechanism of an adult. So if we can do that, I think we can try to work towards a more equal society, something that is obviously not visible right now, but something that we're always going to strive towards, and something that hopefully is attainable in the near future. So I hope that I can continue again in my in my quest to assist with CASA, and I'm hoping that when I'm back home and settled and done playing basketball overseas, I can do some more impactful work with the organization, because I think it's something that everyone should be involved in.
Thank you. And yeah, certainly coaching is one of the analogs to what people in CASA and other types of mentoring roles might do. And Brandon, you were alluding to the interaction between the juvenile justice system and the child protection system. So I'll just clarify for those listening to this today and who might hear the recording that while there are areas of overlap, the focus of the CASA volunteers is on kids who are in the child protection side of the juvenile courts. There may be cases where kids also do wind up in the juvenile justice system. There are disproportionate risks there, but our hope is to keep kids from getting into that other juvenile system if we can help steer them toward the right resources, help support them and their families, and whether it's toward their back with their biological families or adoptive families, try to avoid cycling through repeated foster homes, because that instability is associated with so much additional trauma that leads to greater risk. So Dwayne, thanks again, Brandon. Dwayne, why don't we invite you to look ahead to what you expect a bit, and I'm going to try again to show one of our short videos toward the end, but I'm looking toward the chat area. There have been some nice comments, compliments about our speakers, which I'm not, of course, surprised to see, but I also invite questions if people have any questions that they'd like to raise in the remaining few minutes that we have. So before we might turn to another video, let's ask Dwayne to conclude about how he as a volunteer and other both men and women can get involved and what difference they can make.
I would say from the outset that as a CASA volunteer, I would hope and pray that I am effective in first understanding what the needs of the child are. All too often we can make assumptions about what a child may need, but to actually be attentive to what they actually need through observation and inquiry, I think that's the order of the day. And that takes a certain amount of wherewithal and patience. And again, hope that I exhibit those kinds of qualities so that I can represent the child appropriately periodically when we have to go before a judge and give our testimony about what we perceive to be their needs. So that to me is the main outcome that I hope to achieve through my involvement in CASA. I also hope to continue to have interaction with my cohort of volunteers. As I stated earlier, that has been so enriching for me, and it prevents me from living in my own little bubble and just listening to myself, my own self speak. It's very important for us in our own personal development to seek out the opinions of others, to widen our perspective of things so that we're not too narrow-minded when we interact with other people. I can go on about that in terms of that being a big trouble for the day. But I think, on a one-to-one basis, if we can just open our minds to how others might be perceiving things and engage in dialogue, maybe we'll be in a better position to do something positive, in this case for a child that so desperately needs the attention of someone else to speak for them because they do not have a voice themselves.
Thank you, Dwayne. Yeah, so I think that really underscores how a CASA volunteer can help change a child's story through direct advocacy, a caring relationship, getting to know him or her, and support, corralling resources and connecting them toward finding a safe, permanent home. So I am going to make another attempt to share a video.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
Mainly our focus today has been encouraging additional volunteers. We do have a few existing volunteers on the call, but we're hopeful that this will endure on our website and YouTube and so on to inspire others to get involved. And volunteering, we should say briefly for those who don't already know, involves roughly a 2-year commitment. So it's pretty substantial. And as Dwayne said, it's about a 30-hour training process after the application. We do a rigorous screening. You have to be 21 years old and agree to pass background checks and so on. But we really encourage people of all backgrounds, all walks of life, ages. We have volunteers from their 20s well into their 70s. We want a very strong and inclusive group to serve the kids of Connecticut, and that's certainly true nationally as well. So I hope that people will share this video with others once it's posted, and go to our website where we have a lot of information, casasouthct.org, with links to the other CASA programs around Connecticut, the National CASA Association as well, and we depend so much on the resources that they provide us in terms of the training and a lot of ongoing professional development and funds, certainly, which are critical to the work we do. If you don't wish to volunteer yourself as a CASA, there are many other ways to be helpful in terms of spreading the word. We certainly welcome donations. We have social media accounts that can be used to disseminate the opportunities. So we invite people to do whatever they're comfortable with, and already we have people doing that in a way that is quite inspiring to me and also to our fellow staff people here in Connecticut. I think Gary's on the call, Sally, who is our board chair and also at National CASA, I believe she's on the call, and among others. We have several board members. I think Ron Perry's on the call. So I won't be able to single out everyone, but I want to say we are all inspired by the commitment of volunteers to do this work. We're now just a minute away from 6 o'clock, so why don't I invite any final comments from our panelists. We just heard from Dwayne most recently, so maybe we'll go backwards to Brandon and Mia. Dwayne, since you may still be able to speak without having to unmute yourself, any final words? Dwayne?
I had difficulty unmuting myself. Sorry.
Okay.
The only thing I would say in parting is that, the CASA experience, although I have not yet been assigned to a child, it's already been rewarding. And I think that anyone that considers joining the fray in whatever capacity is going to feel likewise, that their involvement will make a difference not only to a child or more children, but also to themselves. Because as we all know, when you give of yourself, you give to yourself. And I think a lot of people can expect that through any association they have with CASA.
Thank you, Dwayne. And I'm glad you recognized your fellow volunteers. Certainly, Gary and I, as the rookie directors of our respective programs, have been gratified and really motivated by the talents and the commitment that you all bring. And we have a very lean model, about 30 volunteers per staff person is the plan. So the more resources we have, the more children we can serve. Thank you again, Dwayne, and Brandon and Mie, give you some brief occasion to comment as well. Brandon first.
Yeah, I think this is an amazing opportunity to make an impact. And I think each and every one of us who are on this call, and I can speak for Josiah and just hearing Dwayne and Mie speak, we want to make as big of an impact as we can in the lives of all the children, as many children as we can. And even if you can't, become a volunteer and dedicate that time, spread the word and knowledge of the organization, and maybe someone else can also step up and join the fight in trying to make sure that every child has an equal chance to find a home and to be cared for and loved. Because I think it's an amazing opportunity that we can all benefit from.
Thank you, Brandon. And finally, Mie.
Yeah, just as Brandon and Dwayne said, it's just a great opportunity to be involved and help a child's life and just get the joy of helping and impacting others' lives. And it helps those around me to embrace generosity and compassion. I spread it and tell them about it. So it's important to just keep spreading the word, like Brandon said. And even if it's not you that gets involved, maybe someone else you spread it to gets involved, and that changes someone's life. So I think it's important. It's a really great opportunity. And thank you all for being on this meeting. Thank you, Josiah, for having me again.
Well, thank you, panelists. I'm grateful to your participation. You all contributed immensely to this and for your ongoing support. And we've also received a very generous donation just while we're on the call. So I'm grateful to that donor and encourage, of course, others to support us. Most of all by volunteering, but there are many ways you can advance this cause. So I'm hearing some nice comments now from a new volunteer that we have on the chat. So that's also something that gives us a boost to be getting more volunteers as we're going. So we're going to sign off now, conclude the recording, and I look forward to hearing from all of you, both the leaders who were featured today and everyone else on this call. It's really inspiring for us to be part of this movement together, nationally, locally, and statewide in Connecticut. Bye, everyone.